Supatyan, Shakti and you all get all the strength and willpower to have one thought, one mind and one determination to practice, to experience this, to get all the energy and willpower, to put all your effort reflecting this opportunity. May you all get that strength, not only you, all human beings, all living beings, with the guidance of that greatest master that can ever appear on this planet. May all of you all get this inspiration, strength and willpower to come out of all suffering to highest place, Nibbana. Sovatritvan, Dukhimridvan, Nivan Suvalabhatvan, Dharma Shakti Amalabhitvan, Sukhi Hota. Everyone, Sannai, be happy. Okay. So being like a second day, third-ish day, there has to be something that has to happen. So it's like, you have been transforming into another kind of this thing. So let's see tomorrow. But I see now the Kandavagga, you will have to finish by tomorrow evening. I will tell you the page you have to finish. Yeah, 117. Can you check the page 117? The lump of foam. Okay. You can see it's quite a lot, right? So that's why I said now, like, you might have to just read skipping, all right? Skipping means like, don't dwell along a particular sutta. Let me see. I think that's the number. Yeah, it's okay. So tomorrow, how many of you have actually finished the word of the Buddha? Who couldn't finish? Anybody? Really? Let's see who. 1. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means which part? Like, are you toward the end of the word of the Buddha? Few pages left, or the small book, right? Okay. Right. And what about this? Like the one I said, Kanda Samyutta. How many of you have not started reading it? All have started? At least few pages? Okay, that's all right. That's fine. You have started already? Okay. So just go on. You're with the Buddha. But only one important thing. It's not easy. It's not going to be easy. But it's a very strict requirement that you should never try to talk with anybody. That energy will go. Even the energy that I give you before I go from the hall, that also goes away. This is coming like a concentrated, silent energy. These energies will come from yogis. It is like a samadhi flowing. It's samadhi like going and knocking you all. So that if you talk, and it is like some who are staying long time in caves or solitude, then they would not come to human contact, especially in the Himalayas. So you're getting that support also. So use it. Just use it. So it will fasten your practice. It's like an overflowing samadhi for all of you. So that is like any hindrances, just get this thing away. And then that will be easy for you to sort of get into that. But now if you do talk and all that, then that is just suddenly will just be wasted. So talking, be careful. No need, try your best to do that. And just be with it. Talk with the book only. All right? And find a quiet place. And then you might not be able to read now, like contemplating and walking and all that. So you just keep the book with your hand even and just read and walk or sit down but keep reading, okay? And because tomorrow evening, Then day after tomorrow, you have full day. The day after tomorrow, do you have that day? Half day, no? 7th, right? Okay. So you have to, doesn't matter. This is good. Be happy. I'm so glad that, but make sure you have to really make sure you're quiet and just few days in your life, this few days in your, this life, just make it like that. Don't worry, this is good. 3 days even, something will be. 1 day also has seen. Some people have forced me to do a 1-day program. But I could see a very divine intervention actually. It was in Sydney somewhere. I really didn't want to do that, just to make it less and less like that, to make the quality. But that was a very powerful program. then actually, I really feel these kind of activities. It's not just my hands also. There's something else working. So I know something will happen to you all. So I'm very glad. Okay, just continue. All right. This comes from two mystical forces. One is cosmic energy and samadhi working also, and the other one is the Arya jnana, the knowledge of the Aryan. That is the Aryan in the sense like the Buddhas, the Sangha, the Buddha's Sangha that is directly working. Experiential Dhamma, not just that from that dimension. Who have practiced, who have experienced it. It's not coming from, so that's why you remain in silence. Something will be start to work with you, with the book, with the instruction of the Buddha, because you are tapping the same plane, in the same way, same idea. You're not trying to study this or do something like that. It is just actually taking it as a meditation object. Okay? Okay, we go through this also again. Page number 22. Thus have I heard on one occasion, page number 22, thus Halidakani, thus have I heard on one occasion the Venerable Maha was dwelling among the people of Avanti on Mount Papata at Kurugara. Then the household Halidakani approached the Venerable Maha paid homage to him, sat down to one side and said to him, Venerable Sir, this was said by the Blessed One in the questions of Magandhya of the Attakavagga. Having left home to roam without abode, in the village the sage is intimate with none. Rid of sensual pleasures, without expectations, he would not engage people in dispute. I know I read this, but how, Venerable Sir, should the meaning of this stated by the Blessed One in brief be understood in detail? A form element householder is the home of consciousness. One whose consciousness is shackled by lust for the form element is called one who roams about in a home. The feeling element is the home of consciousness. The perception element is the home of consciousness. The volitional formation element is the home of consciousness. One whose consciousness is shackled by lust for volitional formations element is called one who roams about in a home. It is in such a way that one roams about in a home. And how, householder, does one roam about homeless? The desire, lust, delight and craving, the engagement and clinging, the mental standpoints, adherences and underlying tendencies regarding the form element, these have been abandoned by the Tathagata, cut off at the root, made like a palm stump, obliterated so that they are no more subject to future rising. Therefore, the Tathagata is called one who roams about homeless. The desire, lust, delight and craving, the engagement and clinging, the mental standpoints, adherences and underlying tendencies regarding the feeling element, the perception element, the volitional formations element, the consciousness element, these have been abandoned by the Tathagata, cut off at the root, made like a palm stump, obliterated so that they are no more subject to future rising. Therefore, the Tathagata is called one who roams about homeless. It is in such a way that one roams about homeless. And how, okay. So this is something you must slowly get a picture. This is very nice, a very deep point, where you take body, feeling, perception and mental formations, like take your the first 4 fingers, and the consciousness, needs this actually, and with craving, like a gum, like a gum, it actually, the craving is the one that makes it, like it uses these four, and then it arises, and it is existing like that. So you are taking away the gum away, or the glue, okay? You are taking it away with wisdom and these practices. Then how it cannot, of course you will go into more subtler consciousness. You will reach, but you will be still using some kind of another body feeling perceptions and mental formations. Okay? So when the main thing is to see is that when you take the gum or the glue completely away, what happened? It cannot exist. So this is a way out to liberation. This is a way to liberate yourself from this, cyclic. So the last thing I explained, like my teacher used to explain, the Arahant, when the last breath goes, he's the only person, without attaching to the breath also, he could be able to just keep it there. So if you keep it there, the causes for consciousness to rise is no more. So it just stops. But he used to warn me, this is deep, and it is so. So it may be this time, another time, one day in your life, it might just make a big meaning. If you happen to continue to go through the enlightened beings, what the object of meditation they practice, and you expose yourself constantly, definitely, and this will become clear. Clear not in words, it will be an experiential clarity. I mean, you will begin to, this is like, you're really seeing the real Buddha. Even if you see the real flesh and blood, the Buddha, you would have doubts whether it's the Buddha. This is a more real way of seeing the Buddha, by realization. It's nice the way we practice, like I don't know how to tell you, which in the last decision for me to become a monk also, those are places like in the ancient time, kings have, Buddhism has become very revived, like golden periods. And it was jungle, very remote those days. Now it's all made, like it's all a lot of facilities and all that. A lot of jungle monasteries have changed now. They have like upgraded. But I don't know whether it's okay or not. But anyway, those days it was so remote, and you get that. And the ancient ruins were there. So we had the feeling there were a lot of enlightened monks living here, the caves and all that, and the jungle with elephants and other animals. So there you get a kind of that simplicity and kind of a real feeling of, like you can really concentrate. And you can really feel, and you feel like really striving also very hard. Striving means you really make use of that time. So simple, just get your food, and so there I remember time to time I used to go refuge to the Buddha and then read also. But I had in that occasion, that trip which really really sparked, and then I made a decision to become a monk. I had only one sutta, one small anthology, I think, of few suttas taken from, but there was one specific sutta from the Nidhana Samyutta about the conditioned nature. So I just happened to read it in the morning, and then that's why I said you must relax and read. You don't try to understand, try to have a like an idea. What, just relax. Those are the things that will come and hinder you. Just take it as it comes. You read, you relax a bit, you put a walk in meditation, and like that you learn to do it. But then make firm, you feel sleepy, then you don't just allow it that. If other distracting thoughts come, you don't at once allow, nor do you try to kind of resist. So that balance you have to learn to do, and just do it. You have done the thing, whatever will happen, will happen. So this is how you should go, and very unexpected moments. So if you are actually meditating and trying to be in the present moment and then reading, then you're on the right path, you're doing the right things. So, but if you're not reading, only doing that, then that won't, it's nothing going to happen. If you're only going to read without meditating, then also it's another. Page number 30. Impermanent in 3 times. At Savasti Bhikkhus, form is impermanent, both of the past and the future, not to speak of the present. Now, when it is said like that, You don't just like read, okay, it's like that. It should help you to go back to your own past, relate to some memory. Okay? Form is impermanent, both of the past. So you go back even now, even the meeting we had maybe, in the morning, all right? Just something you can remember. So there was a form you had that time. It has changed also in a certain way, even in that second or in that moment. And as a direct experience also it has changed. Because form is impermanent, both of the past. So it definitely changed, okay? So, and the future. So that this same thing which happened to the past will definitely happen to a future experience. So you really have to go into that. It's in a very short form. This is a meditation object, means this is a kind of reflection you'll be doing with this. But because you have to cover so much, you might have to do for few and then you will have to read fast. So, but this is the real way. You have to go back to the past and visualize something, whatever you experienced in the past arose and passed away. If you're sustaining that thinking, you will be noticing your in-breathing and out-breathing also. That means you are in the present moment and contemplating. That means you are relaxing enough and using your forehead a lot. So these are just some tips for you, some idea, if you're really doing the right thing, in the right direction. So you just picture, you visualize how things that happened in the past did arise and pass away. It's a kind of being, a type of awareness. It seems so obvious, and what is it to be known there? You might think like that. No. There's something for impermanent perception for you to develop. This exercise is necessary. And then you think anything that you might experience in the future will be the same. It's going to bound to change, bound to finish. Then when you reflect like that, then what to say about this experience now, what we are experiencing? But you're seeing immediately Bhante, or I'm seeing y'all. And this will, if you just a little bit even do the right contemplation, you can know, you will get detached from the memories or future expectations or the present experience. That you will feel like you're distancing. And it will create a lightness also. And because the instructed noble disciple is indifferent towards the form of the past, he does not seek delight in form of the future, and is practicing for revulsion toward the form of the present, for its fading away and cessation. Feeling is impermanent. Now, in this kind of suttas, there can be experiences where you will get a shock experience. That is, you are really entering so that's why I said there are visions, depending on how much you have matured and how you have practiced, and how you're going to repeat in another 2, 3 years, 5 years, when you have improved your level of steadiness of mind, and when you're exposing these things, they will suddenly click an entire different, depth. Okay? Feeling is impermanent. Perception is impermanent. Volitional formations are impermanent. Consciousness is impermanent. Both of the past and the future. You all are very silent. I'm sure you all are understanding, right? Okay, I'm sure you're absorbing. Okay. It makes me nervous also. If you're really concentrating, maybe. Volitional formations are impermanent. Consciousness is impermanent. Both of the past and the future. Not to speak of the present. Seeing thus because the instruction noble disciple is indifferent towards consciousness of the past. He does not seek delight in consciousness of the future, and is practicing for the revulsion towards consciousness of the present, for its fading away and cessation. Suffering in 3 times also, because form is suffering, both of the past and the future. I'm not going to repeat that. This is also nice when I don't want to skip this non-self of the 3 times, because form is non-self both of the past and the future. not to speak of the present. If you keep on pondering about it deeply, anything, if you're worried about something, because these are the things that we associate and think it's me, I. So when you begin to sort of eliminate it and sort of put it aside like that, your I fades away. What is there to associate with I? So this kind of distancing, actually my Bhante used to tell me, like Arahants, how they must be experiencing things. He used to tell, like, maybe it's like, not maybe, he used to tell like, it's like from a distance. Like you do experience that even in samadhi. If you have enough samadhi, the sensual experiences from the 5 senses, you'll be experiencing with distance, means with equanimity. With, sort of neutral feeling. You will not be interacting with getting attached or repelled. You just have that neutral feeling. So it's like a distance. You can really observe this, that is also samadhi. What's the meaning of samadhi? Your level of desire has decreased to a certain degree. That means to the 5 senses. Then only you get samadhi. Okay? So now, when you get this kind of analyzing contemplation, what happens? You are even distancing from all types of feelings, even samadhi. So that is more desirelessness. So that way you're getting like more distancing, and like your observation becomes really distant. Okay? From all experiences, all feelings. Okay, this is a very nice one. 33 page. Now you're coming to the Buddha's thinking. Okay? This type of way to be analyzed. Impermanent with cause. Bhikkhu's form is impermanent. The cause and condition for the arising of form is also impermanent. As formed has originated from what is impermanent, how could it be permanent? Bhikkhu's form is impermanent. The cause and condition for the rising of form. In other places, Buddha has told the causes of form. Okay? Yesterday I told them also. What is the causes of form? One is food, and the other one is karma. So these two causes themselves are impermanent. Okay? The cause and condition for the rising of form is also impermanent. As form has originated from what is impermanent, how could it be permanent? Feeling is impermanent. Perception is impermanent. Now, feeling, perception, all this happen based on contact. Okay? Contact is the cause for that. And contact depends on what? The body, the form. So like a chain reaction, you can see. So the body is bound to be impermanent. Therefore, all feelings, perceptions will be bound to be impermanent. Now, this is the type of impermanence you are going to, that will make you attain Nibbana through wisdom. Otherwise, normally we are used to, it is to our monkey mind and lot of thoughts, is like watching the thought or a feeling or very tangible thing, how it arises and passes away. That is the normal way we have now got used to knowing the impermanence. So according to my personal knowledge, I don't have any real experience through that way, but with this I do have. Okay? I feel this is a deeper experience of impermanent. A real standard which takes you to so this is a kind of awakening of wisdom in you through contemplation. Okay, not through an observation. Big distinction between observation is still very gross. It's not awakening that great wisdom eye. Okay? So there is a special wisdom, like that's why who have experienced, they tell it like yam kinchi samudaya dhammang sabbantan nirodha dhammanti. Yam kinchi samudaya dhammang, whatever phenomena, whatever thing that arises have to pass away. Okay? It's not this specific thing that will arise and pass away. It's a kind of a realization. Whatever arises has to pass away. Okay? So this is how they, sort of when they have experienced it, how they have, especially attaining Sotapanna, stream entrant, how they experience Nibbana. they express it in words. So better not think about it too much, that one, but at least this way of contemplation you must really think how you are going to analyze within your mind. So other thing is simultaneously you learn to tranquilize, empty your mind and create the proper this thing for that actual intuition to happen. Okay, so this might look boring, oh I know this and all that. But if you keep a different way, give up this way of this thing, I don't know whether you will do the right. So if you have enough patience, go through other suttas and keep repeating, even after 10 years, 20 years. But I'm sure if you leave a proper retreat, and even this one we don't know, but I can't guarantee. But at least if you at home even, when you get more tranquil and all that one day, and if you keep reading and going deeper into this, there will be times that will happen. And that will definitely, it will be a personal this thing, and you will know, this I must stick to. Like my mother, I see, she actually seemed to appreciate, she has been really studying, when I was young also I saw her, but she got from me only the suttas how to do it. Like she also she never knew that like in Sri Lanka almost everybody, even now they are now getting it. They have got the suttas from this thing, but how to meditate? No, nobody now. How to use it for experiencing? It's not happening anywhere. I don't know, maybe something wrong with me, or there's all others are okay. I don't know. Feeling is impermanent, perception is impermanent, volitional formations are impermanent. So you can connect it, no? Because feelings you will never get. You need to have contact. For contact to happen, you need the organs that are the form. And so the forms are supported by karma, and so this mental picture will come. Then you learn to that is new maybe to you all. So the brain has to get used to that thinking slowly. Feeling is impermanent, perception is impermanent, volitional formations are impermanent, consciousness is impermanent. The cause and condition for the rising of consciousness is also impermanent. As consciousness has originated from what is impermanent, how could it be permanent? Seen thus, he understands there is no more for this state of being. So the other one also, because form is suffering, the cause and condition for the rising of form is also suffering. As form has originated from what is suffering, how could it be happiness? Feeling is suffering, perception is suffering. Because form is non-self, the cause and condition for the rising of form is also non-self. As form has originated from what is non-self, how could it be self? Now when you see the food outside, it looks very you cannot say this is my food or me or something. Okay, so that is already non-self, you can see very clearly. So you put it into your body, so it nourishes those parts. So it is a thing that is not you that nourishes. Something you cannot arise with something which is not you. No, it's not possible. Okay, so that you can also picture that way, like how everything that is created from which is put from outside. And so if you're looking like that also, you will see the bodies are like some kind of vessel or not really you. Okay? Consciousness originated from what is non-self, how could it be self? Okay, 39th page. Because one who seeks delight in form seeks delight in suffering. One who seeks delight in suffering, I say, is not freed from suffering. One who seeks delight in feeling, in perception, in volitional formations, in consciousness seeks delight in suffering. One who seeks delight in suffering, I say, is not freed from suffering. One who does not seek delight in form, feeling, perceptions. So even when you're taking some food and we're eating food, and then you will notice, you will not take it as, you know this is a body feeling perceptions, and now you're enjoying, delighting in it. Then when you remember these words, you suddenly it will come to your mind, if I do this, and what Buddha is saying is not exaggeration or something, you know. When you do like that, really you will be directly and indirectly strengthening the cause of suffering. Anything from the senses, even finally the meditation, if a peacefulness or any feeling you begin to delight, this will be a universal law in the whole universe or existence, that wherever you allow craving to be, grow, you will be suffering. One who does not seek delight in form, feeling, perception and consciousness does not seek delight in suffering. One who does not seek delight in suffering, I say, is freed from suffering. Next sutta also. Because the arising, continuation, production and manifestation of form is the arising of suffering. The continuation of disease, the manifestation of aging and death. The arising of feeling, perception, volitional formations of consciousness is the arising of suffering. The continuation of disease, the manifestation of aging and death. In this sutta, you must use your imagination more. Just think of your mother's womb. It's like empty space, okay? So, soon, the moment that it begins to form or to rise, the body, flesh part or whatever, the conception, the initial moment of the first the thing, when it arises, you have to picture. So before, like saying from Nibbana, like say you're from Nibbana to when a body gets formed. It doesn't happen like that, all right? So complete emptiness, complete emptiness to when this is arising. So whenever a body part arises, manifestation of form is the rising of suffering, the continuation of disease. Whether we name, it's a cold or cancer or whatever, it is to what happens in the body, okay? And so you have to just picture like from emptiness inside, where actually when a body moment it starts to manifest, these things are going to manifest. Because now we are in it so long, we are taking it for granted, like, okay, we are accepting it. We don't, so just think like now, because we must now learn to delight Nibbana. We don't delight Nibbana normally. We want to continue in this, imperfect suffering because we have got so used to this. And we feel like Nibbana is like death or like, So now this way you have to learn to see like even any form of arising of a body, feeling, perception, it is the rising of, like sickness, death, old age, all these things. All right? Volitional formations of consciousness is the rising of suffering, the continuation of disease, the manifestation of aging and death, the cessation, subsiding and passing away of form, feeling, perception and consciousness is the cessation of suffering, the subsiding of disease, the passing away of aging and death. Page number 41. Bhikkhus, I will teach you the fragile and the unfragile. Listen to that. And what bhikkhus is the fragile and what is the unfragile? Form is the fragile, its cessation, subsiding, passing away is the unfragile. Feeling is fragile, perception is fragile, volitional formations are fragile, consciousness is fragile. Its cessation, subsiding, passing away is the unfragile. That is Nibbana. And the next one, not yours. At Savatthi, bhikkhus, whatever is not yours, abandon it. When you have abandoned it, that will lead to your welfare and happiness. This makes me laugh a little bit. I don't know whether it, do you? Did you read this? You did, huh? Okay. I don't know whether you're getting the same feeling I am getting. Okay, I'll read it. Okay. And what is it? Because that is not yours. Form is not yours. Abandon it. When you have abandoned it, that will lead to your welfare and happiness. Because today the modern day situation is very different, right? I'm thinking you're thinking about that, right? So when you have abandoned it, that will lead to your welfare and happiness. Feeling is not yours. Perception is not yours. Volitional formations are not yours. Consciousness is not yours. Abandon it. When you have abandoned it, that will lead to your welfare and happiness. Suppose bhikkhus, people were to carry off the grass, sticks, branches. It won't, if it happens here, there'll be security, right? Isn't it? Bhikkhus, suppose people were to carry off the grass, sticks, branches, and foliage in the Jeta grove, or to burn them, or to do with them as they wish. Would you think people are carrying us off, or burning us, or doing with us as they wish? No, Venerable Sir. For what reason? Because, Venerable Sir, that is neither ourself nor what belongs to ourself. Now this is a very important sutta actually. Okay? Because actually when you train like this, practice like this, to see something that's really like external to you, not yours, especially you're going to go for a checkup to the hospital, or you're going to face some crisis, you can really train yourself, look at yourself like, that these are not any part of me, is not mine. All right? So this is really nice to even, this idea, like if they are taking something, not, it's like that easily we consider it as not, like something outside. But with us here, like we have so much possessed it for a long time. So now with this kind of reminding and this thing, and that will be an easy way when you are facing sickness or going for any kind of, checkup, or where they are going to observe you, all that, you have a way how to be aware of. To be aware that is like not mine. And finally one day, when you have to face death even, this will be a very nice way. You already trained your mind to look at it that way.
If all these are not ours, then what is ours?
Okay. Without these 5, right? They're like 5, body, feeling, perception. This ours is only an idea. It does not, it's a concept. Okay? But we have got so used to that. Okay, we have got so much used to that concept has been so long. But when you take away these 5, or just take, for example, feeling out of this. These 5 always exist together. Like you can't say you have feeling and you don't have perception. No, you always, when a moment of consciousness, you have feeling, perception, and so on. But feeling is a main component of these 5. Okay, when we feel only, we know we are like, you're conscious, right? So, but when we observe clearly what happens to feeling, take for example, like tasting a food, some food, okay? Say when you're tasting, when that whatever part is touching your tongue, you get the feeling, all right? So we feel, I feel, all right? But you munch that material. You just watch, if you can able to watch mentally, what is happening in your mouth, that those parts, when they're touching, you're getting that feeling. And when those parts are not touching, the feeling is not taking place, okay? So all this time, you were thinking that I was experiencing this with that feeling, which is a changing feeling. So if you watch that changeness, then you will begin to see, where is the I? But if you don't watch, you're like so unmindful, then you get this sense like continuously to another thing, what you're like, maybe the wind touching you or any other bodily sensation. Always there will be some kind of sensation when you're conscious. So then you are always having the idea of a self because of our craving nature. Now I see my tuk-tuk driver in Sri Lanka. He's a young boy, but what happens? Sometimes he talks with the tuk-tuk. Tuk-tuk. It's then he said he's a good boy. He has to be given food, this petrol, and he's going to take us safely. So then I am wondering what's happened to him. Because of his tremendous attachment to that junk, that you create a kind of life to that. So this is a small thing which we are doing to our body with flesh and blood and consciousness and all these things. So this is like, so even to that kind of, with metal and everything, in the mind this can happen where we create a kind of a self or an identity to something through attachment. Now especially we have that strongly with our parents or even children. That's why it's so important for the relations, the body. When the body dies, they want the body because the relationship is connected with the body. Okay, so normally when we picture our son or child or parents, we picture a form. Their hair, how the hair is like that, how the face looks like. But we see also how it changes when we have a haircut. Small children, when the parents, if they take a haircut or change that, they're really because they're so much identified with that form. So it's with craving, attachment, you're getting this sense of I. So it's a sense of I. If you begin to analyze, you begin to see there's no I. That's how we are doing now. What we are trying to do is just to become aware of that. You get that? You should never try to find an I. If you're finding means you will find, because I will tell you, wherever you are still with these 5 things, body, feeling, perception, you will be getting the idea of I. I have an experience with some yogis. They inspired me one time. Actually, I told you some of the yogis, they help you to clear your karma. When they see you, they will see what the karma you're going through, what is blocking you, what has stagnated you from previous life. So mostly it is something sensual you have done, or something, some karma in the past, which has come at this life to clear it. No, it happened to me, tell you honestly. So this particular person, when I met him, he gave me a lot of inspiration and gave me hope that I will definitely achieve something or whatever, some years back. And he really helped me, like some things I had, like small, I have given some loopholes for certain distractions to happen. After he gave me that point, I really put them aside. It really helped me, okay? So later on, I met him in, another place in Himalayas. When I met him, he encouraged me about certain attainment in the Samadhi way, okay? So then when I asked him again, just to get some assurance, when will I achieve this, or when I will attain this more, because I'm little attached to some Samadhi still. So then what he said was, you contemplate, I am that, I am that. Okay? Now in their way of meditation, I am that means not this body, but now the way according to Dhamma we know, it's actually a dhyana. Wherever there's an I arising still, there is a feeling. Okay? So when he said that, I was wondering, it's very clear to me that there's no I, so how can I do that? That's where I parted away from him. Well, I felt I can't get anything further, though I'm so attached to Samadhi, but then finally, because it's very clear to me that the idea of I will come even to dhyana, to equanimity. For some feeling is there, so you might recognize it as a super I, or a very very I, a cosmic I, or something. But still, you are getting the idea of I. So that's a big shift in Buddha's Dhamma experience, where you really realize that Sakkaya Ditthi, it's a touch of that conditioned nature and the impermanence. If you have some experience in that direction, that you will know that this is just a cause and effect. There's no I. That's a very big meditation difference in the Buddha's contribution to the world. Because I will teach you the fragile and the unfragile, right? So Buddha is telling the body, feeling, perceptions, they are fragile. Fragile means they are like, they are breakable, they are, am I right? Who knows English well? For a long time I'm speaking English now. My English has been destroyed by the Sri Lankan community. Luckily, something is left that I could speak to you still. But it doesn't now. Those days it just flows, Now it's like mixing up with the Sinhalese discourses. Doesn't matter. Because I will teach you the fragile and the unfragile. It's clear, right? Yeah. Form is the fragile, is cessation and subsiding, passing away is the unfragile. So why did you laugh about this grass thing, this not yours? Just because I had that this thing feeling, because I was thinking about modern day monasteries. You understand? So whenever because modern day monasteries, it's recorded, and maybe some administrators are here also, but I'm just telling you, okay? It's not, so those days, Buddha's time, they used to leave. All right? It's not like they had a possession of course, now I'm not having actually, I've placed it under trust. So it's like lay people, they will be, but of course spiritual, and maybe I would monitor some things, but I don't want to take the burden of it. It should never happen. It should never happen. Because if something happened wrong in history, how when this started to come with more craving and attachments, and because the attainment of the path got lost somewhere on the line, then the people had their own with the defilements, the idea of what the Buddha Sasana was. Okay? So there is a real purpose in this. I see this as a hospital. Okay, what happens in a hospital? You don't come to hospital become sick, all right? You come to get cured, so you have a doctor, there's operations going on and so on. So this is operation now, I'm happy, okay? So that has to go on. Then only the merits are accumulated and people are, transforming. So that should happen. That's where the monasteries are there for. So, but if you are going to look after a monastery and kind of thing, then this thing. So lay people should get that merit by doing that, all right? But they also should be guided not to get attached or doing it not to have ego and all these things, that the monks have to guide. And I don't think monks will remain there, like watching all the time and, should set an example of really being a wandering. How to suit to the modern times you must look, but basically that vastness of the spiritual experience should work in your mind, where you're seeing vastly the impermanence. That's why I'm telling sometimes people, there's not much time. We are going to finish. Everything is going to finish very fast. This is a very short period that you must feel. Otherwise, when you feel it's like a long period, you want to establish things here, there. You understand? That shows your level of awareness. You're not seeing things that are going to finish very fast. So this will happen if you touch these words and really go into a meditative state. Time will also pass very fast. You don't feel the time because you are more in a joyful state, and the sense of time is like passing very fast. You're not feeling bored or anything like that. And the other thing is, you'll be doing what is most essential and important to maintain these states of mind and increase those states of mind. Kusal. You know the word kusal when I say wholesome states? Have you heard this word? Most of you, I think. Okay. Do you have a book? No? Don't worry, I had to use this. Now, if I allow your questions, I think I'm giving this thing to talk. Okay, no, it doesn't matter, you can ask. Yes, it would be really, really a difference from a more awakened, not as a scholar. If they are there are some monks I see, I know one Indian monk meeting a Sri Lankan monk, both know Pali. So they talk in Pali. I was wondering how they are discussing, to see they are talking in Pali. But the English translation is good enough. I think that translation, because you must use a language which you are thinking. The language that you count or so you have to use that language. That's why I'm very concerned if somebody is more to Chinese, to get the Chinese translation. Okay, and to try to get, and I have found like that in some cases. If the Sri Lankan, the Sinhalese translation. If it is Italian, I would like Italian, because I see a magic power in these words of the Buddha, which cannot, you just cannot interpret like that. This I have some personal feeling and experience. So that's why I'm telling you all, because we know about this. Long time you stay, it has a way that it will awaken. Even the people who have divine eye, they can see this. This book can open up areas of your brain, like I told you. They don't practice this, but they have the capability to, and they would have seen through my experiences or whatever, I don't know. So, because it is like this Devas, it is a language of like the Devas. When some monks were about to attain arahantship and striving, They used to come to the Buddha and say, Vakkali? Have you heard about Vakkali? The Arahant? He was really striving hard. He had so much faith in the Buddha, he just wanted to see him physically. He was the most, he was the one who was having the foremost faith out of the disciples. So he just was watching the Buddha, not meditating. That was his meditation. Okay, so then Buddha, when he was ripe, then the Buddha said, Vakkali, then actually he told to go away. He was very upset. And then he said, the Buddha projected the light, and then he told Vakkali, Yo Dhammam Passati, so Mam Passati. Whoever sees the Dhamma sees me, so Mam Passati, Yo Dhammam Passati. Who sees me sees the Dhamma. Now what the Dhamma means, the Paticca Samuppada, conditioned nature. So this is the part must call it brain damage. You can write it. He's writing about. I feel that, okay, I will explain to you all, okay? Sanura is writing about some of this thing. I think it come into a book. So he got some opportunity to... but my life is very different to Bhante also. Bhante is like a really, it's like a giant to the... Of course, we are like some specks of that coming out in some way. We also have a similar interest, this thing, but I think he has gone quite evolved into that. My life is also very mixed with serving also, and then I would say it's like that. So, but of course, Dhamma is very clear, and how the monk have to be practiced is also very, very clear. There's no doubt about it. How they should, what is the final goal should be done. But I have other things working, like very forceful, which I can't leave aside. As I told you, with the Himalayas, the practices I've been doing. So I use it for blessing and helping. That is, it's natural. I can't stop it. But meanwhile, definitely that final thing is also working in front. So it is with this. It's with so that's why it will come back to you. Even if you're reborn again, what you have, the focus, it will just come to you. You don't go behind it. I was telling you all something. Wait, I'll come to that, okay? I lost the track. It just comes to me like maybe I have, insulted one monk in the past. Yeah, it's come karma. I have, so suddenly it's like this thing comes to the mind. Anyway, when I do this, I might remember, okay? Page number 56, these very important ones, which is related to, I'm recalling something, something maybe some force try to stop to give you this important point. Yes, it's coming clear to me, okay? So, the two devatas came to the Buddha and told in the morning time, the time you are meditating, that's why I say it's very important to meditate that time, that Vakkali will attain. He will definitely attain, path, that is arhatship. Okay? So Buddha also knows already. So before he attains, so the devatas did have this knowledge. All right? So though they have not attained, they can know, they have that divine eye. So same way as I told you in India, some of the people I met, that they told the importance of this, this has that's the special, this thing that can, that's why it's even Pali language is very special. You can't really do it to English, but anyway, even we find the books have been useful for us, but you must never read even a sutta from the beginning to the end, like you're meeting the Buddha. And there is something in that, even my own personal experience, like it puts you into a pinpoint, I told you the real experience has it it is like you take a horse, the tail, the fur or whatever, you take so thin, and in a dark night, it's like a dark moon that night, you have it in a certain distance and try to shoot with a arrow, bow and arrow, the difficulty. So the same way, this pinpointed experience, that is so fine, this intuition. So it is made easy by what? Samadhi. Samadhi have made your perception fine. So sensual desires are so gross, so opposite. But when you come to dhyana or samadhi, which is free from hindrances and a more blissful, uplifted state of mind, you're very close to that. Close, like, you narrow your target. Okay, then you can sort of pinpoint to that this thing. Not like that, but I mean, it's as an example. So here, that's why you always try to be meditative, keep your mind pure. There's like Nalaka. He was like, Buddha's time, when Buddha was when he was born, one like a great rishi or a great master from the Himalayas, he came and then he predicted he will be the Buddha. He saw the 32 marks and he was sad he was going to pass away. But he told his nephew or somebody, there will be, when this boy, you will know he become famous, they will tell there's a Buddha is born, he has arisen, and you go to him and learn from him. So what did he do? He went to the Himalayas and make sure that he won't have much sensual experiences, so that he'll be prepared. That's the way to prepare for this. So it's because more you have that, you could say sila and the samadhi, the possibilities are there for that realization to happen. Otherwise, you will just gather knowledge and everything, but you will never know the real actual experience. This is something not to know, just maybe one verse is enough to trigger that. So, but Bhante has made that this thing for create more possibilities, like 1,000 ways for you to get that. I see it's very unique because our mind normally contemplate one sutta and just leave it. But now when we have to repeat like that, it has an effect on our brain. This is a very nice sutta. Because there are these 5 kinds of seeds. What 5? Root seeds, stem seeds, joint seeds, cutting seeds, and germ seeds. At the 5th. If these 5 kinds of seeds are unbroken, unspoiled, undamaged by wind and sun, fertile, securely planted, but there is no earth or water, would these 5 kinds of seeds come to growth, increase, and expansion? No, Venerable Sir. If these 5 kinds of seeds are broken, spoiled, damaged by wind and sun, unfertile, not securely planted, but there is earth and water, would these 5 kinds of seeds come to growth, increase, and expansion? No, Venerable Sir. If these 5 kinds of seeds are unbroken, unspoiled, undamaged by wind and sun, fertile, securely planted, and there is earth and water, would these 5 kinds of seeds come to growth, increase, and expansion? Yes, Venerable Sir. Because the 4 stations of consciousness should be seen as like the earth element. Delight and lust should be seen as like the water element. Consciousness together with its nutriment should be seen as like the 5 kinds of seeds. Consciousness, because while standing might stand, engage with form, based upon form, establish upon form. With the sprinkling of delight, it might come to growth, increase, and expansion. Or consciousness, while standing might stand, engage with feeling, engage with perception, engage with volitional formations, based upon volitional formations, establish upon volitional formations. With the sprinkling of delight, it might come to growth, increase, and expansion. Because though someone might say, apart from form, apart from feeling, apart from perception, apart from volitional formations, I will make known the coming and going of consciousness, its passing away and rebirth, its growth, increase, and expansion. That is impossible. Because if a bhikkhu has abandoned lust for form element, with the abandoning of lust, the basis is cut off. There is no support for establishing of consciousness. If he has abandoned lust for feeling element, for the perception element, for the volitional formations element, for the consciousness element, with the abandoning of lust, the basis is cut off. There is no support for establishing of consciousness. When that consciousness is unestablished, not coming to growth, non-generative, it is liberated. By being liberated, it is steady. By being steady, it is content. By being content, he is not agitated. Being unagitated, he personally attains Nibbana. He understands, destroyed his birth, the holy life had been lived, what had to be done had been done. There is no more for the state of being. There was another one. This you can note also, like Halidakani in the first pages, the second sutta, and this kind of suttas, you can ponder on it. Just to see that when these desires are there, this will happen. When desires are not there, make it simple. Don't try to know too many details of it also. Just get an idea how these khandhas are. Sorry. This one was, let's see, page 56, sorry. 56, the seeds. 56. This is for your thinking meditation. Okay, 71 page. Say you spend half an hour of doing this, half an hour of compassion meditation, metta bhavana, half an hour of anapanasati, half an hour of Buddha's qualities. Which one you think is more strong karma? More, we say kusal or wholesome states. Or if somebody tells you to choose, in this, like half an hour you have to do either, which one, which is the most valuable one you think you might do? Sorry? Okay, good. All right. Right. Which one do you think has more, effect for your well-being, for your future, or to remove your suffering, or which has the most good karma? Okay. Buddhanusati? All right. So reading this is not much, is it? No?
So I have to find out.
You have to find out, okay. So I have been doing the Buddhanusati. I have been doing the metta. I have been doing those things when I met that in India, okay? So when I increased that also and came, he said, not enough. All right? When I just read this, and what was it? I didn't do it like even the way you are doing now. Even this slow I didn't do. I did very fast. I read it I went to the jungle, not like a jungle previously. Those days it was like a jungle, so now I can't say exactly, but I went there and read fast and then met him. Then he saw that it was then only high. 80%. Because it doesn't look like meditation for you all. You understand now? It is like you're reading and, it's not giving you, it's like you feel bored. Maybe, you feel sleepy also with this. So somebody told me, because of your compassion, Bhante, I was reading the suttas in the retreat. Really. Just one person who was vocal, she happened to tell me this. Yeah, I can understand this. If it was very easy and okay and, you would have been doing this by now. All right? That's why it goes. If we have done this, we would not get reborn. We would not create this kind of thing. Okay? So there's something lacking and something we have. But now I'm sure you will have some common sense. And if you're really sincerely, sort of in a balanced way, you will know it. You will know it for yourself. Okay? So this is because this will trigger even a moment of impermanence or some anatta. It's a very powerful kusal. It's in the Buddhas, there are places where Buddha has told like this. For a moment, if you get like impermanent perception. Actually, he also emphasizes metta. He says metta ceto vimiti for a moment. That I told you in the morning about at a level of dhyana, samadhi level of metta, unconditional compassion, and then you get into concentration. That also generates a lot of good karma. But much more beyond that is perception of impermanence or perception of anatta. So this it's what is triggering from here. Okay? Even if you don't trigger, if you're just holding this book also, I feel it's meritorious. It's my personal feeling. Okay? Yeah, somebody did tell to get these suttas to your hand, how much good karma you would have been done in the past. One Dayaka told me, then it actually I also came to think about it. This is not the words of somebody, it's just an enlightened person. The closest you can get to the enlightened person. Not through relics or not through statues or, even not physically, unless Buddha speaks. Then that's what he's speaking here. Then it will be a personal discourse to you also. So you can actually come really to the fullest closeness to the Buddha now with this. So just imagine the merit behind it. So I hope I'm not brainwashing you all. This is my idea, okay? I don't want to actually force any. This is my experience. You take it as you feel it's maybe right or wrong, okay? Because I'm so much forceful sometimes, putting ideas to your minds. But what I'm convinced of, and so it's up to you to. I don't want to also actually tell you honestly. I really want you to find the truth. That's all. I have that sincere, some little compassion. All right.
Okay, this is all very well studied, right?
No,
Existing again.
no more suffering. We put it that way. No more suffering.
If you're not reborn, then there's no suffering.
Reborn is something, okay. We are not like, we are not having a very, because Nibbana, if now also experience, you will not feel suffering.
Oh, you mean Nibbana can you experience while you're still alive?
That's how it should be experienced, yes. We are not going to blindly wait for a Nibbana with a name as Nibbana. Now we should be knowing that we have attained it.
To have
Repulsion, okay.
repulsion of the enjoyment.
Yeah.
But to repulse means to dislike, right?
Yes, to be detached, not to create attachment to it, craving to it.
Okay, it's not to avoid. It's not talking about
Yeah.
avoiding good food. If I
No, if you can't have you can't control your desire to a certain food, it's better to avoid it as a yogi, as a practitioner. Okay, but the best way is while eating, if you can contemplate how it's like a vomit or like that, and that's a fight. That's quite, you need faith, like to think how the enlightened people practice. You have to think about them and then do that.
So it is still okay to try not to be attached. Is that the idea?
Okay. If you enjoy the food, that's like all in one, right? You can't. You have to give up you have to give up a lower pressure to get a higher pressure. Now, say you enjoy the food. Actually, you'll find your afternoon meditation will be affected. So, if you allow actually desire to grow in you, so it will have its other ways. Like you'll get more angry, you'll get more sleepy. These other defilements also will get indirectly strengthened. So,
Say enjoyment is defilement.
yes, it defiles your mind. Yes, it defiles your mind. That means, one place it says, Buddha says, whoever enjoys or allows feelings, perceptions, enjoys suffering. Whoever give up the feelings, perceptions, and enjoying it, he, give up suffering, or he avoids suffering. So he's just telling it's really true. So now when you think about also, when you're enjoying, you realize, oh, I'm enjoying suffering because I'm increasing my craving. Okay? So normal human being, they have only this way of overcoming suffering. Now, for example, okay, if you can know someone is going through hardship or difficult time, say he's putting music and, some distraction. All right, is someone who has not, or he might go to the bar or some kind of entertaining place. These people who are going there is full of suffering. If you go to their personal life, because just they have no other idea how to escape from their suffering. Okay, so but who have trained in the Dhamma, now they know the root cause, and then they know to replace it from another feeling, another type of awareness, another type of practice. So I told you that the two feelings, that is like immediately you get like sense gratification. That is one way that is normally people are very used to. So when you do that, you're increasing your craving. So what happens is that when you increase your craving, you're never satisfied. So in such people, you find there is a sadness without a reason. Even things are not looking really bad around them, but you look at them, they're sad. They're unfulfilled, unsatisfied. You can feel that. You can see that. But now, if you go in the other way of disciplining and controlling, you find slowly, you feel confident about yourself. Like losing weight. People, if they do that also, they feel quite happy. Same way, when you learn to discipline your, senses, then also you get self-confidence and, then you don't feel guilty and all that.
Controlling your
Senses. Yes. Two types, there are two types. So we are going to replace it to the other way. So at least now, even in this program, hopefully, like now already some of you are shining. Let's see another 1 day, 2 days, and especially morning meditation and all that. If you do, it will create something. You will be tasting by force a certain well-being, like you're healing your wound. You see, we are now normally sort of irritating the wound and trying to find some solace, okay, or some comfort. But now it's without putting, like germs or anything, and really putting medicine, you're healing the defilement wound in the mind, in the consciousness. You getting more questions? Okay, right. All right. Then dwelling alone, withdrawn, diligent, ardent, and let's see this one. 72, page number 72. Then a certain bhikkhu approached the Blessed One and said to him, Venerable Sir, it would be good if the Blessed One would teach me the Dhamma in brief. Bhikkhus, in conceiving one is bound by Mara. By not conceiving one is freed from the evil one. Understood, Blessed One, understood, Fortunate One. In what way, Bhikkhus, do you understand in detail the meaning of what was stated by me in brief? In conceiving form, Venerable Sir, one is bound by Mara. By not conceiving it, one is freed from the evil one. In conceiving feeling, in conceiving perception, volitional formations, consciousness, one is bound by Mara. By not conceiving it, one is freed from the evil one. It is in such a way, Venerable Sir, that I understand in detail the meaning of what was stated by the Blessed One in brief. Good, Bhikkhus, it is good that you understand in detail the meaning of what was stated by me in brief. We will read the next one also. Then a certain bhikkhu approached the Blessed One and said to him, Venerable Sir, it would be good if the Blessed One would teach me the Dhamma in brief. Bhikkhu, in seeking delight, one is bound by Mara. By not seeking delight, one is freed from the evil one. Understood, Blessed One, understood, Fortunate One. In what way, Bhikkhus, do you understand in detail the meaning of what was stated by me in brief? In seeking delight in form, Venerable Sir, one is bound by Mara. By not seeking delight in it, one is freed from the evil one. In seeking delight in feeling, in perception, in volitional formations, in consciousness, one is bound by Mara. By not seeking delight in it, one is freed from the evil one. It is in such a way, Venerable Sir, that I understand in detail the meaning of what was stated by the Blessed One in brief. Okay, we can just go through that. I didn't think of telling you this, but 106, Vakkali Sutta. Then in the fourth paragraph, like in the 106, or the third, then when the night had passed, the Blessed One addressed the bhikkhus thus, Come bhikkhus, approach the bhikkhu Vakkali and say to him, Friend Vakkali, listen to the words of the Blessed One. And two devatas, last night, friend, when the night was well advanced, two devatas of stunning beauty approached the Blessed One. One devata said to the Blessed One, Venerable Sir, the bhikkhu Vakkali is intent on deliverance. The other devata said, Surely, Venerable Sir, he will be liberated as one well liberated. And the Blessed One says to you, friend Vakkali, do not be afraid, Vakkali, do not be afraid. Your death will not be a bad one. Your demise will not be a bad one. So it can understand, the devas do also have that ability to have that idea to see the mind and the state of, this thing. You can read if you have time later, okay, this entire sutta. 115. Because suppose there was a mountain river. Do you think Angulimala, for example, Angulimala, you know Angulimala? Have you heard? Anyone who have not heard? Okay, Angulimala was a, you could call a serial killer, or how do you call it? You know, right? So, but he was in another way, not with so much distorted this thing, but out of, to fulfill his teacher's he was so devoted to the teacher, he wanted the garland of, fingers from the student as a kind of last. Those days they had you had to give some kind of this thing to the teacher. So anyway, when he was going, he was very feared by the whole country. So there was the whole army was going to come to, the king was going to, came with the army. So at the same time, the mother of this Angulimala also heard that the king is going to this thing, and so she was also coming to tell him, warn him, protect him. And then the other mother was also, he saw in his morning, that is the great mother, the Buddha, with his compassion in the morning, he used to see who he can help, and he saw this thing happening. And then he definitely would have seen the potential for him to become Arahant. So then he went, before the army went, before even the mother went, because even the mother he would have killed to get the last finger. So he would have created a great karma, and then all that potential would have been, this thing. So then Angulimala, of course, the story, I think, Buddha had a special power where he was chasing the Buddha, but he couldn't come near. And then he said, "Oh, you Shramana, stop." And then he said, "I have stopped, you stop." Then he said, "Shramanas don't lie, the monks don't lie." And then he realized, you see, that the master has come. And then he repented, and then the discourse he heard, he became Arahant immediately. Now imagine, he didn't kill 1, 2, it was like 99 people by that time. And some fingers got this thing, so he killed more. All right? So, such a being, if he practice Metta Bhavana, if he practice Buddhanusati, do you think he can clear those karmas? It's impossible. Okay? But that Arahatship is what? Is one of these discourses. Like this, what you are now reading, even if you don't immediately understand, even you are like just little bit something you understand, that much you are creating good, karma, which can clear a lot of karmas. I know some people, when they're reading, the eyes tearing. The initial retreats, I don't know, I don't see them much now. I think maybe the good karma people is coming more now, I don't know. But I could see how they were struggling, and I used to tell, just read it, okay, with using a magnifying glass even. And I would have encouraged my own father, but he was too old. Anyone I would encourage by knowing what this will do. So for you to, just one word of a Buddha, and there are times as a Buddha also as a Bodhisattva, where there was no Dhamma at all, he was prepared to jump to the mouth of Dhamsoda, Jatake, to a demon or this thing, a water demon, to hear the verse of a Buddha, of a previous Buddha. So for us to have this availability of the exact Buddha's teaching, and to have good health and able to practice, all these good conditions are very rare. Because suppose 115, because suppose there was a mountain river sweeping downwards, flowing into the distance with a swift current. If on either bank of the river kasa grass or kusa grass were to grow, it would overhang it. If rushes, reeds or trees were to grow, they would overhang it. If a man being carried along by the current should grasp the kasa grass, it would break off, and he would thereby meet with calamity and disaster. If he should grasp the kusa grass, it would break off and he would thereby meet with calamity and disaster. If he should grasp the rushes, reeds, or trees, they would break off and he would thereby meet with calamity and disaster. So too, bhikkhus, the uninstructed worldling regards form as self, or self as possessing form, or form as in self, or self as in form. That form of his disintegrates and he thereby meets with calamity and disaster. He regards feeling as self, perception as self, volitional formation as self, consciousness as self, or self as possessing consciousness, or consciousness as in self, or self as in consciousness. That consciousness of his disintegrates and he thereby meets with calamity and disaster. Now you can just put this to even, I don't want to tell you like this, but even to your own family members. Just imagine, if you just attach too much to a body somewhere outside of you even, okay, to the person, that means not only his body, you attach to his personality. Okay, that is his consciousness. So just see, what do you rely on? What do you place this thing on? Calamity and disaster. So you have to picture, so that mental detachment comes. Doesn't mean you're going to be nuns or monks or run away to Himalayas or jungles. It's that you're going to be nuns, monks, and that's the most important thing. And you're mentally, internally attaining that and becoming a more enlightened human being. That will not shed tears because of you having this deep wisdom about life. Actually, we have a lot of knowledge about living today, but zero knowledge about life. What life is, and enlightenment. So there's that contemplation also. What do you think, bhikkhus? Is form permanent or impermanent? When you see this way of this thing, just think like you are listening to the first time and like you are listening from the Buddha. So to answer Buddha that is impermanent, see until you become aware in your mind for some time. Don't just accept it or impermanent like that, just with the word. So that you exercise that ability to, like now fresh again, to think the bodies will be definitely impermanent. So empty your mind and you learn to ponder on it for some time. Then only that awareness, that wisdom will start to work in your mind. The flowers, okay, the other one. Bhikkhus, I do not dispute with the world. Rather, it is the world that disputes with me. The next sutta, in page number 116. Bhikkhus, I do not dispute with the world. Rather, it is the world that disputes with me. A proponent of the Dhamma does not dispute with anyone in the world. Of that which the wise in the world agree upon as not existing, I too say that it does not exist. And of that which the wise in the world agree upon as existing, I too say that it exists. And what is it, bhikkhus, that the wise in the world agree upon as not existing, of which I too say that it does not exist? Form that is permanent, stable, eternal, not subject to change. This the wise in the world agree upon as not existing. And I too say that it does not exist. Feeling, perception, volitional formations, consciousness that is permanent, stable, eternal, not subject to change. This the wise in the world agree upon as not existing. And I too say that it does not exist. That bhikkhus is what the wise in the world agree upon as not existing, of which I too say that it does not exist. And what is it, bhikkhus, that the wise in the world agree upon as existing, of which I too say that it exists? Form that is impermanent, suffering, and subject to change. This the wise in the world agree upon as existing, and I too say that it exists. Feeling, perceptions, volitional formations, consciousness that is impermanent, suffering, and subject to change. This the wise in the world agree upon as existing, and I too say that it exists. That bhikkhu is what the wise in the world agree upon as existing, of which I too say that it exists. There is bhikkhus a world phenomena. It's a nice way the Buddha puts this, There is bhikkhus a world phenomena. In the world to which the Tathagata has awakened and broken through. Having done so, he explains it, teaches it, proclaims it, establishes it, discloses it, analyzes it, elucidates it. And what is that world phenomena in the world to which the Tathagata has awakened and broken through? Form bhikkhus is a world phenomena. It is the scientific mode of the Buddha now. It's very nice how he puts this, you see. Form bhikkhus is a world phenomena in the world to which the Tathagata has awakened and broken through. Having done so, he explains it, teaches it, proclaims it, establishes it, discloses it, analyzes it, elucidates it. When it is being thus explained and elucidated by the Tathagata, if anyone does not know and see, how can I do anything with that foolish worldling, blind and sightless, who does not know and does not see? Feeling, perception, volitional formations, consciousness is a world phenomena. Is correct, right? Now I can teach the Dhamma actually coming to any part of the world. Of course, animals you can't teach them. But you go to any country, they have greed, hate, delusion. They're all having consciousness. This is the first time I happened to come to Malaysia, okay? Kuala Lumpur. And this happened when I ever went to a country first time. When I was a young boy, when I went to also Cyprus, Nicosia, I remember. So when I was fully practicing the Dhamma also by that time, I was really reluctant to go. My father was, I had to fulfill his desires, his wishes. So when in the airport, when the plane landed, I saw some old people, like bring what is this, the ladder or whatever. Then I suddenly realized, there are old people here also. So it was like, so my Dhamma, what I've learned, what I practice is still applicable everywhere. So here also I got this slight awareness like that. I don't know how it's coming like that. It's very obvious, of course, but the Dhamma is everywhere. You can see the Dhamma everywhere. And what is that world phenomena in the world to which okay? So when it is being thus explained and elucidated by the Tathagata, if anyone does not know and see how can I do anything with that foolish worldling, blind and sightless, who does not know and does not see. Bhikkhus, just as a blue, red or white lotus is born in the water and grows up in the water, but having risen up above the water, it stands unsullied by the water. So too the Tathagata was born in the world and grew up in the world, but having overcome the world, he dwells unsullied by the world. That's a very nice thing. Okay, this is the one you must read up to, the lump of foam. Okay, that is by tomorrow evening. So you'll have to go through it fast. Okay. You might not be able to. Okay, somewhere you find. See, tomorrow evening, do some things interesting ones. Try to contemplate in your walking meditation, and you find the time is getting shorter, then you'll have to rush. Okay, do like that. So by even rushing, you completing this. That's why I given this, because based on my experience with those ones who have the divine vision, so that you are going to gain something and go. Okay. When I go, maybe if I meet them, they might say, that retreat was very good. Maybe. Okay. They have grown, I have no time to ask like that. I have so many retreats. But I'm sure, I believe it myself, that you all will be going with something, according to my knowledge. But you already know also how to do it to attain Nibbana. Okay. Is that clear? I have been telling, so you have to try out a little bit this few days also, but also you have to do it fast. And with Samadhi, all the tools are there for you to continue in the future. It's like a journey you have started, and then, so I told what are the wolves and what to meet. What is it? For cell phone, you have to reduce all this. You have to keep your senses with less play, and then learning to enjoy more that peacefulness and living in the present moment. So that way already you're, a very pleasant life. And then you're also there are chances that you will have that experiential thing with the Dhamma. And you will be a strong person, you will not go very timid and, like very nervous and all that. Those things will go away. You'll become like a lion. You can face anybody because you have, character. That's very important. And fearlessness, because you're not done wrong. On one occasion, this is 117. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Ayodhya on the bank of the river Ganges. There the Blessed One addressed the bhikkhus thus. Bhikkhus supposed that this river Ganges was carrying along a great lump of foam. A man with good sight would inspect it, ponder it, and carefully investigate it, and it would appear to him to be void, hollow, insubstantial. For what substance could there be in a lump of foam? So too, bhikkhus, whatever kind of form there is, whether past, future, or present, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near. This is how you should. This is called ajjattam va bahiddam va atitang anagata paja. These are all the possibilities of form. Okay? Let me tell you how to look at this. So too, bhikkhus, whatever kind of form there is, whether past, future, or present. This you have an idea, right? Whatever in the three times, like past, present, future. Internal or external, do you understand what that is? That is your form, your body, and the external means any other form other than your form, outside. Gross or subtle, how do you imagine that? The way I see it is like, elephant's form of a body and ant's form. Okay? Inferior or superior, that is maybe the lowest realms, inferior, like for example, maybe the hell worlds or demons, and the superior, the devas, the brahmas, their body. Okay? Far or near, okay, that you can say anything that is. So in all possibilities we are thinking here, so that we get detached from any type of attachment to any type of form. A bhikkhu inspects it, ponders it, and carefully investigates it, and it would appear to him to be void, hollow, insubstantial. For what substance could there be in form? Okay. So it is compared. Lump of foam is compared to form. Okay, so that is so like fragile and empty, and also like it's like with whitey flaky like this thing you have seen in the river. So too, bhikkhus, whatever is, so this any kind of form will be like that. So this is a good one for meditation. All right. Suppose, bhikkhu, that in autumn, when it is raining and big raindrops are falling, a water bubble arises and bursts on the surface of the water. A man with good sight would inspect it, ponder it, and carefully investigate it, and it would appear to him to be void, hollow, insubstantial. For what substance could there be in a water bubble? So too, bhikkhus, whatever kind of feeling there is, whether past, future, or present, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near, bhikkhu inspects it, ponders it, and carefully investigates it, and it would appear to him to be void, hollow, insubstantial. For what substance could there be in feeling? Just go into an experience of any feeling, okay? It is the moment of just that touch, the contact moment. Okay, a bubble is so like you just touch it, it bursts. So it's so small moment, with that touch you're getting that feeling. Okay? So, to comparing it to a bubble, you have to learn to think about this over and over again. When you're walking, just sit and also think about it. So you learn to see any touch, any experience you have got in the past. It was for a fleeting thing, fleeting moment. So it was that so fragile and so sort of that contact. So just think how the contact happened to you, just to the sense organ, then how it just disappeared. And now also whatever you're experiencing, you can even focus on how it is now even touching now, and you're getting the feeling, and how fragile and how fleeting it will be. But if you delight, if you have a feeling that overpowers you, you can't do that. That's why we try to keep our mind with very finer feelings, with more meditative feelings, so that is more peaceful, then you can contemplate. But say you are, especially food also is difficult, unless, like while he's touching, so you should not be tasting, you're not looking for taste, then you can watch this food touching your tongue and how the feeling is arising, and all these things you can sort of visualize, and how it's like muck inside your mouth, all that you will be able to visualize. Okay? So you can try that also, but otherwise you might think, tomorrow I will try, let me enjoy the food now. So you had two choices, either to do this or do that. So it will be always tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. And Nibbana will be a tomorrow thing. So no, it will change, I'm sure. For this you must get initial energy, inspiration, and some feeling of, just joy of striving. This is very important. That's how we did it, so when we went to the dining hall, it was very helpful. In Island Hermitage, we were the yogis this side and the monks. It was really helpful for me, really in the midst of Sangha, and just getting that faith. And I wanted to control, really. So we had all the good food there, Danavis brought. So that's why I also in the monastery where now they are doing the retreats in Sri Lanka, I tell, doesn't matter, let whatever you think is good for them, you prepare, not to make like very simple food. But the yogis must know, it will be interesting, that they would control, they would use that faculty rather than depending on something not. Then how are you going to develop this? Of course, if you can't control, then better to have some simple, non-stimulating food. That's a different thing. But you must go with the stimulation also, so you develop that level of faculty. That's why even in the midst of sound you should be able to practice. Even finally in the office, and then only when you come to solitude one day, you will have the strong foundation to make use of the solitude. And now what you do in solitude helps you to do that there. And what you do there, it helps you to do like that. So there is a connection. If you just forget the practice, and then that's such a yogi don't progress much. You have to bring it to the daily life. And early morning maybe start, and most of them, they have continued the early morning 3 o'clock this thing after they have experienced it from the retreat. Then suppose bhikkhus that in the last month of the hot season at high noon a shimmering mirage appears. A man with good sight would inspect it, ponder it, and carefully investigate it, and it would appear to him to be void, hollow, insubstantial. For what substance could there be in a mirage? So too, bhikkhus, whatever kind of perception there is, whether past, future, or present. So when you are going through this, you must go to some memory of the past or something. It's not just you just read these words. Or future. Okay, some anticipation. Maybe you will imagine something tomorrow, what you're doing, or day after. Just even imagine, try to imagine yourself. Or present, what you're now going through, you be aware what you're seeing, hearing. Internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near. So you can apply to this, as I told you, elephant's body. What is this? Here in this case, it is perception. Okay, perception. So like this, perception of these animals, then of beings of the lowest to the highest, like that, you can apply, ponder it and carefully investigate it. This is very important. So you remain thinking about this. So for this you need sufficient samadhi actually. When you have a mind that is running too much, it's not easy. These suttas were told when people were sufficiently mature in samadhi. But at least you can try. Okay, that's okay. Meanwhile, maybe you get some samadhi sometime, and then some things you are able to do. Even a little bit you are able to do, that will be very good. You have nothing to worry. A bhikkhu inspects it, ponders it, and carefully investigates it, and it would appear to him to be void, hollow, insubstantial. For what substance could there be in perception? Suppose, bhikkhu, that a man needing heart food, seeking heart food, wandering in search of heart food, would take a sharp axe and enter a forest. There he would see the trunk of a large plantain tree, straight, fresh, without a fruit bud core. He would cut it down at the root, cut off the crown, and unroll the coil. As he unrolls the coil, he would not find even soft food, let alone Heart wood. A man with good sight would inspect it, ponder it, and carefully investigate it, and it would appear to him to be void, hollow, insubstantial. For what substance could there be in a trunk of plantain tree? So too, because whatever kind of volitional formations there are, whether past, future, or present, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near, a bhikkhu inspects them, ponders them, and carefully investigates them. As he investigates them, they appear to him to be void, hollow, insubstantial. For what substance could there be in volitional formations? Suppose, bhikkhus, that a magician or a magician's apprentice would display a magical illusion at a crossroads. A man with good sight would inspect it, ponder it, and carefully investigate it, and it would appear to him to be void, hollow, insubstantial. For what substance could there be in a magical illusion? So too, because whatever kind of consciousness there is, whether past, future, or present, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near, a bhikkhu inspects it, ponders it, and carefully investigates it, and it would appear to him to be void, hollow, insubstantial. For what substance could there be in consciousness? Seeing thus, bhikkhus, the instructed noble disciple experiences revulsion towards form. Now, if you have contemplated this even slightly, you will feel some desirelessness to body, feelings, and so on. Taking it as form, perception, taking it as a mirage. Okay? You will see them as empty, even any experiences you went through in the past. This slight awareness, getting that awareness is the most important thing. Not gathering any knowledge about this. Okay? So even for a split second, you're getting that awareness and making your mind free. A little bit even. You are in the right direction. So if you can do that more, then it becomes a meditation. For what substance could there be in consciousness? Seen thus, bhikkhus, the instructed noble disciple experiences revulsion towards form, revulsion towards feeling, revulsion towards perception, revulsion towards volitional formations, revulsion towards consciousness. Experiencing revulsion, he becomes dispassionate. Through dispassion, his mind is liberated. When it is liberated, there comes the knowledge is liberated. He understands, destroyed his birth. The holy life had been lived. What had to be done had been done. There's no more for this state of being. Now, what kind of person is this who would say like that? If he has gone through this and realized this like that, what do you think? A person who has attained Sotapanna? An Arahant, yes. This is what the Blessed One said. Having said this, the Fortunate One, the teacher, further said this: form is like the lump of foam, feeling like a water bubble, perception like a mirage, volitions like a plantain trunk, and consciousness like an illusion. So explained the kinsman of the sun. However one may ponder it and carefully investigate it, it appears but hollow and void. When one views it carefully, with reference to this body, the one of broad wisdom has taught that with the abandoning of three things, one sees this form discarded. When vitality, heat, and consciousness depart from this physical body, then it lies there cast away, food for others without volition. Such is this continuum, this illusion, beguiler of fools. It is taught to be a murderer. Here, no substance can be found. A bhikkhu with energy aroused should look upon the aggregates, thus whether by day or at night, comprehending, ever mindful. He should discard all the fetters and make a refuge for himself. Let him fare as with the head ablaze, yearning for the imperishable state. So until this one, you will have to read by tomorrow, okay? Tomorrow evening. So day after tomorrow, okay? Tomorrow evening. Make a note of it, okay? And I hope, don't read only what I read, like some people, one person I found, just you know what I mean, right? It's very clear. So, but don't rush also, okay? See how you can do the contemplation. And then you find no time, then read fast. Do you get the point, I hope? Is it clear? Okay. Don't worry, be here like, it's not, it's a tough thing sometimes. Okay. Find a quiet place and do it. All right. 124. This is my personal understanding. You will be clearing and any blockages you are having in your karma. This is not medicines you will not get anywhere. Just imagine. Okay, this is the unseen layers of your existence. Medicine done for that. Okay? You may do all these other things, you must try to learn how to be clever in life or whatever. But this is like, you're going through a process like this kind of retreat. It's like as I called it before, it's a karmic operation. All right? So I feel if you have very strong karma, negative karma, it's not possible. You will have so many obstacles. And I don't know whether it can ever become very popular or my dream is there to put it, it's not easy. It won't be easy. It's easy to do something like a rock concert or something, there'll be a lot of people, even for some restaurant or chain of restaurants or whatever. But to Nibbana, it's not... but anyway, we'll try our best and making sure that, even now we have a lot of lists in Sri Lanka, but the infrastructure is not ready yet and the organizers, so I feel very bad. So that's what I wanted them to come from, not to have all of them residential, that they can come from outside. So we are trying to have, I think, next retreat like that, so that we can accommodate more, so that no one is waiting in a waiting list. So some gets dropped off, the opportunity goes away. So what to do? This is the only possible level we can do at the present moment. So, 124. Now some are going home and coming. Anyway, I think you, right? And who else? How was your experience? You had to try your best to keep your interaction to get, but okay, it's good. I see you all very, a lot of you all are very strong, good. So almost all others are staying here, just one more, right? Two of you behind, 1, 2, 1, 2, okay, 1, 2, 3, you going home and coming, no? All right, that doesn't matter. You'll be okay. I can see a small difference in some people. Like some inner, I'm sure you will get some, your whole thing will change. Tomorrow, it will be 3 days, right? Okay. Okay. At least I had to get that satisfaction. You had to have some transformation. You can't be in long phases, 3rd day, 4th day. That thing should happen, some change. This is a difficult thing, but it's really healing you, curing you. Wisdom is put in, that's very powerful. 124. Because thus, this samsara is without discoverable beginning. A first point is not discerned of beings roaming and wandering, unhindered by ignorance and fettered by craving. There comes a time, because when the great ocean dries up and evaporates and no longer exists, but still, I say there is no making an end of suffering for those beings roaming and wandering, unhindered by ignorance and fettered by craving. There comes a time, because when Sineru, the king of mountains, burns up and perishes and no longer exists, But still I say there is no making an end of suffering for those beings roaming and wandering unhindered by ignorance and fettered by craving. There comes a time, because when the great earth burns up and perishes and no longer exists, but still I say there is no making an end of suffering for those beings roaming and wandering unhindered by ignorance and fettered by craving. Okay, suppose because a dog tied up on a leash was bound to a strong post or pillar, it would just keep on running and revolving around that same post or pillar. So too the uninstructed worldling regards form as self. Look at the way how Buddha explains that. The way we are binding ourselves is through views. Regard form as self, feeling as self, perception as self, volitional formations as self, consciousness as self. He just keeps running and revolving around form, around feeling, around perception, around volitional formations, around consciousness. As he keeps on running and revolving around them, he is not freed from form, not freed from feeling, not freed from perception, not freed from volitional formations, not freed from consciousness. He is not freed from birth, aging and death, not freed from sorrow, lamentation, pain, displeasure and despair, not freed from suffering, I say. But the instructed noble disciple does not regard form as self, nor feeling as self, nor perception as self, nor volitional formation as self, nor consciousness as self. He no longer keeps running and revolving around form, around feeling, around perception, around volitional formations, around consciousness. As he no longer keeps running and revolving around them, he is freed from form, freed from feeling, freed from perception, freed from volitional formations, freed from consciousness. He is freed from birth, aging and death, freed from sorrow, lamentation, pain, displeasure and despair. You were telling about, the five. I mean, where, if they are not ours, what is ours, right? Now, in this also you can see, beyond this, when you're when you don't regard and when you don't have attachment to these five, you are actually, that's what we want to attain, then that is Nibbana. So that is beyond any kind of, so just simply by thinking about it, this is the way you will be attaining it. It can be experienced right now. So it's a kind of a realization and awareness. So you'll just have to settle down, and little bit even you get some idea. I remember in one retreat, one lady in Sri Lanka, of course the lady's, I think, daughter-in-law or somebody, she's the close devotee who is looking after many things in the Aranya, in the monastery. So, but I did notice her also, the whole retreat she was. Then she said after the retreat, I didn't understand anything. Then only one thing I felt understood is that, I don't know, she was telling me how important it is, that when you are dying, not to be attached to anything. So she has said that's the main thing you have to understand. So I hope so this at least this will sink into your mind. As he no longer keeps running and revolving around them, he is freed from form, freed from. At Savarthi, things that fetter. At Savarthi, because I will teach you the things that fetter and the fetter. Listen to that. And what bhikkhus are the things that fetter, and what is the fetter? Form bhikkhus is a thing that fetters. The desire and lust for it is the fetter. Fetter there. Feeling, perception, volitional formations, consciousness is a thing that fetters. The desire and lust for it is the fetter there. These are called the things that fetter, and this the fetter. Okay, so body, feeling, perception, these are by themselves what? Neutral. Okay. Another way you could understand, I told before, for example, the ear does not get angry. Okay? The tongue does not taste. Does it make sense? Tongue does not taste, so where does the taste part comes actually? In consciousness, okay? With feeling and so on. So mentally it's nice in your walking meditation also to separate and contemplate about it. Okay? These are called the things that fetter. Things that can be clung to. Because I will teach you the things that can... Because you look a person when after death, embalmed and all, almost everybody, when they they embalm the body and they all look very enlightened, isn't it? Very peaceful and no emotion, no this thing. So it's like, the body, like without all of that consciousness and all that, without that it looks all very... So, of course, people like to believe that way also. People have been murderers, maybe great robbers, but all of them, when when the death and when they embalm the body and bring, they look all very peaceful. So, actually, if you take away this consciousness, these attachments away, a person can become extremely, even the physical body. And if you're a meditator, even it will show in your body slowly, slowly. That's why those days, when some monks were going arms round or when people saw them, the very sight, I was telling now, actually, Sanura was telling about some incident when I first met my teacher, really had an impact. The meeting that made an impact was on the road. I was in my motorbike and all that, and then I was going to meet a friend. Then I saw this impression suddenly like a giant, Bhante was like a giant actually, tall means like a giant. In the hot sun, the rugged, that robes, he was walking with a walking stick and, bent down. But the impression I got, so they are discussing with another monk, they said Bhante was not that tall, no? What was it? Yeah, he was not. It doesn't mean that I meant that he was tall. The projection from, I think the state of consciousness he was having, you'll get that suddenly, that kind of this thing. So I felt he was very large person. Then I realized, that's the German monk who was to come to my grandma's. And then I was attracted to, go and offer him something. But that meeting was the main one. If I didn't meet there, I don't think I will be really following him. Because I would know he's a great monk, but I also had my own pride thinking I knew everything from my own experiences through physics and all that. Okay. Okay, 138, they're same. Things that can be clung to. Because I will teach you the things that can be clung to and the clinging. Listen to that. And what bhikkhus are the things that can be clung to, and what is the clinging? Form bhikkhus is a thing that can be clung to. The desire and lust for it is the clinging. Clinging there. Feeling, perception, volitional formations, consciousness is a thing that can be clung to. The desire and lust for it is the clinging there. These are called the things that can be clung to, and this is the clinging. Okay, 145. I know I'm grueling you all, but grilling you all, what do you call it? Grueling or grilling? so, hot tempers, okay. 145, hot tempers. Because form is hot tempers, feeling is hot tempers, perception is hot tempers, volitional formations are hot tempers, consciousness is hot tempers. Seen thus, because the instructed noble disciple experiences revulsion towards form, feeling, perception, revulsion towards, experience revulsion, he becomes dispassionate. He understands there's no more for this state of being. Because you should abandon desire for whatever is impermanent. And what is impermanent? Form is impermanent. You should abandon desire for it. Feeling, perception, volitional formations, consciousness is impermanent. You should abandon desire for it. Because you should abandon desire for whatever is impermanent. Okay, this is a very nice one. 147. engrossed in revulsion. Bhikkhus, for a clansman who has gone forth out of faith, this is what accords with the Dhamma. He should dwell engrossed in revulsion towards form, feeling, perception, volitional formations, and consciousness. One who dwells engrossed in revulsion towards form, feeling, perception, towards consciousness, fully understands form, feeling, perception, volitional formations, and consciousness. One who fully understands form, feeling, perception, volitional form, feeling, perception, and volitional formations and consciousness is freed from form, feeling, perception, volitional formations, and consciousness. He is freed from birth, aging, and death. So there has to be a degree of revulsion. Then only this real understanding will come. Okay? So when there's understanding, what happens? Then only you free yourself from form, feeling, perception, and volitional formation. Through understanding only. That means realization. It's not like just understanding in words or something. It's actually a meditative realization. That's the type of understanding Buddha is meaning. Okay, this is also good. 148. At Savas, next page, 148. At Savasti, bhikkhus, when what exists by clinging to what, do pleasure and pain arise internally. Venerable Sir, our teachings are rooted in the Blessed One. When there is form, bhikkhus, by clinging to form, pleasure and pain arise internally. When there is feeling, perception, volitional formations, consciousness, by clinging to consciousness, pleasure and pain arise internally. What do you think, bhikkhus? Is now you must check. Let's say you're very attached to your pet or something. What? Without getting attached, it's a body, it's a form. Okay. And you're getting attached to some way of behavior or whatever. So it is type of consciousness, feeling, perception, you're getting attached to that. So based on your attachment to these 5 things, then you will get, you will get pressure and pain internally. You will not feel internal, this thing without any attachment coming to one of all these 5 things, 5 skandhas. What do you think, bhikkhus? Is form permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, Venerable Sir. Is what is impermanent suffering or happiness? Suffering, Venerable Sir. But without clinging to what is impermanent, suffering and subject to, so that means if you don't cling, that is in Nibbana, you're not going to experience anything internally, any suffering. Okay? So you must picture that also. So one day you'd like to experience that. So you begin to like Nibbana. Okay? But without clinging to what is impermanent, suffering and subjected to change, could pleasure and pain arise internally? No, Venerable Sir. Is feeling, perception, volitional formations, consciousness permanent or impermanent? But without clinging to what is impermanent, suffering and subject to change, could pleasure and pain arise internally? No, Venerable Sir. We'll read the next one also. No, not that one. At Savasti, bhikkhus, when what exists by clinging to what, by adhering to what, does identity view arise? Venerable Sir, our teachings are rooted in the Blessed One. When there is form, bhikkhus, by clinging to form, by adhering to form, identity view arises. When there is feeling, perception, volitional formations, consciousness, by clinging to consciousness, by adhering to consciousness, identity view arises. Seeing thus, bhikkhu, there is no more for this. So then, anywhere, if anybody still getting the sense of I, that means that person has not touched Nibbana yet. Okay? So you can know it for yourself, and you can know about somebody else, if the way the person says that, that's why I said that yogi, when he said, you contemplate, I am that, then it really, how can I am very strongly established in this, so how can I know, how can I be with that kind of view? Any view will come because of the craving. So it's like the Dhamma, when you have realized you have no view. That is your view. Okay? Having no view. We will read the other one also. View of self. Because when what exists by clinging to what, by adhering to what, does view of self arise? Venerable Sir, our teachings are rooted in the Blessed One. When there is form bhikkhus, by clinging to form, by adhering to form, view of self arises. When there's feeling, perception, volitional formations, consciousness, by clinging to consciousness, by adhering to consciousness, view of self arises. Does it answer your question more, this one? This one, yeah. This one we read, what we read. Does it answer your question?
Actually, there is no self. Just you also said there's only cause and effect.
Yes.
You said, so there is no self. The only thing that is permanent, that keeps on rolling and rolling.
Impermanent is permanent. So, okay. Yeah. And you get the idea, how we get the idea is only an idea of a self, that is by clinging to body feeling. Yeah, then the idea comes the self idea. So this simple thing is very profound, very deep, because it is the whole thing that for every being. Okay, it's finished now. So you wanted to stay a long time with me now. I think now you're waiting when we are going. Right? But I hope much of your work is done alone. Please, your very short period, try to keep that solitude. Don't wait to meet somebody or talk to somebody. In the other retreats, I have told there's nobody to monitor here or this thing. I have really been very firm about it. I have told to send them home, actually, tell you honestly. Because I see the importance of that for your benefit. And I want you all to get, and with great difficulty, I also came to this, to give you all this. So many times I would have lost my life in this life, actually. So this opportunity, I really want you all to benefit the best. So at least things that you can do, if you can try, and what happens after that is okay. Then you can accept it. And I hope you can try, okay. Good luck to you all. I hope you'll have strength and this thing. Normally in retreat, when it becomes 8 o'clock, you feel sleepy more. Because I felt it when I told you in the retreat, but it was like jungle atmosphere. So you're in such a solitude, suddenly you feel like when it's 7, 8, you feel so drowsy. But of course, to have quality time in the morning, sleep, and when I was young, okay, I used to, what happened? So as I told you, but please keep silence that I asked from you. Okay, for your own well-being. Now after here, not only silence here, when you go there, really this has to be strict. All right? And there's only 3-4 days. Don't make that mistake, you'll be losing something, the way I understand. Because it's not something, it's based on some mindfulness you try, and you have to go here. Your body is here in, what is this, MB, what is this place called? Maha, okay, BMV. You are in this building, BMV, right? So you are in this building, this is in the Kamaloka, sense world. But now you are activating a yogic experience. Okay? So you will be same as someone who is striving in the jungles, or somebody in some other place even, or we are together with ourselves who are in the same plane. So it is an experience that you're trying to touch in the same plane. Because you just look at the building and then heard some suttas and then you go, what happened? Okay? There's something. I have not come to give you knowledge, I have come to give you experience. Okay, tell you honestly. Because I'm not a scholar too, we have lived with, seen the Dhamma in the mind. And those things have kept on inspiring for us throughout our life, where we go refuge to the Buddha, and that we know is the final way out. Okay? And that's why I would not change my discourse after another few years, another way, another path. People who met me many years back, it was the same thing. But of course, I never came this much to give it this way. So it will not change, it's not possible. What we have experienced is experience, that's it. There's no two words about it. Okay, so I hope it will be for your highest well-being, because I think any other friends, relations, teachers, or whoever won't be a help when you're dying or when you come to that moment, or any tragedy in your life. These things will definitely, as I told you, when my cousin or who passed away, that sorrow, through the Dhamma contemplation, these things really, you can experience, not that you're pretending you're not feeling suffering or something. Regarding my father also, it's very interesting. 5-6 months, I was also thinking really, after my practice, when my parents pass away, how I would experience it. I really like to experiment. I don't want to really see all this practice, what has done to my system. So it was a Malaysian gentleman in Australia. Just after my father's passing away, he was a monk the last period. I made him at the right time. And in one of the retreats, actually, one of the Malaysian gentlemen, he asked me, Bhante, how did you say your goodbyes to your father? Okay, just after this experience when I came. So then I suddenly recalled, the first time I told goodbye was when I ordained. It's a death process. The wonderful, how this has been created by the Buddha, the ordination, when they were going to take me to cut my hair, the feeling you get, the feeling I got was like you're taken to gallows. Really. You get that feeling because you know why? You're going to cut away from the sensual, this thing, that commitment. So the 99% of our being is our gross body. So mainly when I had the feeling that I'm never going to experience some of these, the sense world, it was like a death. And then I see this other time, then more killing was happening in the practice. That is when I attain more samadhi. That's also you forget the body more, and then coming to that. That's not really very blissful. So then, with insight, with this teaching, it's like final killing. So there are times it will be long if I tell you the experience, like when I'm going to the jungle, when there's no contact, my parents they would be following even if I become a monk, okay? That happened. So there are times where I made sure no one knows any link that they could ever trace where I have gone. Okay? Just because even half-heartedly, you also keep some clues sometimes. This happened. So one time I realized, I thought no. Because from the island hermitage, we used to go to one temple, it's like a jetty for the boat to come. And from there we go like wandering, okay? So the chief monk has the information of our coming and going. So our parents had contact with them and then used to monitor. This actually, I don't know, it's happening to you all also. You all are big babies now, So anyway, parents are parents. So I decided not to inform or not to give any clue to the monk, and I went on this from forest to forest that particular year, 2004. But when I was nearing that forest, suddenly I was picturing my father. That like I see my father. And then I knew that is the desire. You see, I'm also having this desire within me. And suddenly it came what you're reading now. That what is that father? How do what is that? That is body, feeling, perception. Okay? If you take it in the Dhamma way, it is an experience of consciousness and I perceive as father. Okay, that's perception. So when I took like that, what is the nature of perception now? Hopefully at least these 3 days you will get that training that it is arising and passing away. Okay? So immediately I was able to see it's a perception and it arises and passes away. Arises and passes away. That way I was able to cut away from my thought. So these are also processes of killing yourself or killing your defilements. So this has been going on, so many practices for so many years. So actually, when my father passed away, in the latter period, I did some duties to him. Okay, in fact, before nobody could find me where, and when he really needed me, I was there. The last period. Okay, so it's like it all will happen properly. You should go ahead, making your way. You should never be, you should think the long-term goal to liberate yourself and be a blessing to others too, in the right way. So anyway, I can see in those stages, so with the practice, actually before they die or pass away, you separate from them, from your minds, from your this thing. So with the practice, you find when he passed away, I remember, but something did happen, I must tell you honestly. Like normally when I meet him, and when I left, it's finished, okay? I have maybe give him some encouragement or give some words when I visited as a monk, okay? But this time after he passed away, actually, I had some few memories coming up, which is unusual. Not for long, not overwhelming. Like maybe for my brother, he would have felt very overwhelming. He's still living a family life and very, no training at all like this. So I can imagine what he must be going through. So if I tell you honestly, but I'm sure I'm not completely perfect yet. So definitely there's some, but it's just some few thoughts came, but it was also unusual. Because I don't like sort of remember somebody too much. When we meet, finish, then I go with I tell you, that's a wonderful life. Sometimes I forget. Sometimes I call it brain damage also. Sometimes I can't recall. It takes long time for me to, it's a very embarrassing situation. People who have helped me, who have been attendants of me, like in Buddha Gaya. So I just tell them, just wait for some time. So, and then slowly, I don't want to put them into feel that, like I forgot them or something. So this also happens sometimes, okay? But now even some people ask, after I became a monk, do you remember your parents and like this? So I tell, when you're telling, I'm remembering. You understand? So if you're really remembering somebody who does not, then you're obsessed so much. You're having too much attachment, and so that way you're not in the present moment, and actually it's quite suffering. You are really, others is so blissful, you just be empty and just in the moment to moment, moment to moment. And it's a general, single feeling runs all the time. Blissful, peaceful, and equanimous, and so this you must learn. I think you must slowly master it. It's possible when you're driving the car, it should start in the early morning. You have to put yourself into that training and then try to maintain that throughout your work and activity. So good luck, okay? Tomorrow will be like your third day. All right? There was somebody who came to meet me in the afternoon. I think she left. She had a lot of problems and so on. Did she go? Do you know her? Yeah. She left, right? I pray for her, okay? And you know her? Okay, right. Yeah. She wanted to meet. I wanted to explain to her some things to be done for her to, I was thinking about of course, this kind of thoughts come when I'm alone. Don't tell your problems, I think too much about you. So, but at least I'll be praying for you all the time, wherever you all are. So I hope there are, not for the retreat, it's unnecessary for me to bring topics to the retreat like this. You all are putting the highest medicine now for your life, so you don't need to go into some other kind of things. But people are living, sometimes they can't even think of a retreat. Just burning, and they're coming, So with some hope and this thing. I hope, so I wish they will get some solace too from the Buddha's practices. So all this good karma you have accumulated today too, transfer to your parents, relations, and all beings from the lowest to the highest. May they get all encouragement, strength to come out of all suffering. Though it was tough reading all this, giving you this, these things, I hope, it will be your true welfare. But you all are worshipping and waiting like this, but really you have to be silent, because I'm getting some news that you have been talking, I'm sorry to say, but please don't do that, okay? Try your best, right? There are no people looking at you and reminding you, coming behind. I'm sure you will try, you will try, maybe unconsciously, and distinctly you will be drawn to talking. Don't do this just for a few hours, few days. All right? Even when you go home, I don't know, not easy, but good, you all are trying even that way. I'm very glad. Less sensual impressions and less talking. Your possibility you will get little more samadhi and some glimpses from the words. Those will be life-changing. Okay, not life-changing, the entire samsaric change can happen. Be in touch with the Samma Sambuddha's instruction. And I hope you all will get the fullest blessings. Transfer to your parents, relations, and all living beings from the lowest to the highest. The protective devatas and divine kings in the Devaloka and in the Brahmaloka. May all of them get a share of this good karma. And also all the 32 crores of devatas, may they get a share of this good karma, and may they get strengthened to protect these teachings in the human plane for human beings to practice this and be liberated and be free from all suffering. And all the people in this country, especially, may they also get inspiration. And all other beings in this world, in this planet, may they also get inspiration and protection. Due to different karma, they have been tossed here and there, but may they get all support. And all your good karma, think of them too. And when the ancient path to liberation be awakened to human beings, all are searching for happiness. All human beings and other creatures, may they get a human birth to come out of all suffering to highest peace, Nibbana. Sopadvetvan, dukim detvan, nivan suvalabhatvan, dharma shakti, dharma shanti. All other unseen beings too. Bhavatu sabba mangalam, rakkantu sabba devatan, sabba buddhanubhavena, dhammanubhavena, sanghanubhavena, sada sati bhavantu te. Sopadvetvan, dukim detvan, nivan suvalabhatvan. May you all get all the strength to do this. May my worship to the Buddha's holy feet, the noble chakra, the disc in his feet, and the conch shell, and those marks of the noble master. May it protect all living beings to come out of all suffering to highest peace, Nibbana. Sukhi hotam.
Vihara